What if your tenant refuses to evict your property and stops giving you rent? Welcome to Legal IITM. Follow, save, and share. Renting out your house seems simple until your tenant refuses to vacate or stops paying you rent. The law allows you to be a landlord, but it also brings legal responsibilities and compliance requirements that you cannot afford to ignore. Let's begin with the most common mistake: giving a house on rent without a written agreement. Post the Model Tenancy Act 2021, it's absolutely clear. No written agreement is equal to no legal standing. Oral contracts can land you in serious trouble in court. So, what is the safe path? Create a proper 11 months rental agreement. Now, why 11 months? Because under Indian Registration Act 1908, rental agreements exceeding 11 months must be registered, involving stamp duty and registration charges. To avoid these, landlords often go for a notarized 11-month agreement, which is quick and cost effective. Now, about the stamp paper value, it varies by state. Maharashtra, it is 0.25% of the total rent per deposit. Delhi, it is 2% of the annual rent. Now, Uttar Pradesh, it is fixed at 200 rupees. Most other states, 100 or 200 non-judicial stamp paper. But here is the trap. If the agreement isn't renewed after 11 months and the tenant continues to live there, they become tenant and will, or holding over tenant. And if you accept the rent without a written agreement, the court assumes that you consented to their continued stay, making the eviction legally difficult. Now, if the tenant defaults or misuses the property, where should you go? As per the MTA 21, every district now has a rent authority, usually a IAS officer, SDM level, who register the complaints. Now, there are also rent courts, a judicial forum that resolves eviction and rent recovery dispute faster than the civil courts. These forums offer time bound redressal. Most cases are resolved within 3 to 6 months, unlike traditional courts. Also, conduct proper police verification of your tenant. Submit their Aadhaar, PAN, and address proof via local police portal. If you skip this and your tenant is caught in a illegal activity, you would be charged under the same activity act. It can be NDPS or PML. Now let's talk security deposit. As per the Model Tenancy Act 2021, for residential properties like apartment houses, you cannot take more than 2 months of rent as security deposit. For commercial properties, the limit is 6 months rent. Also, under the Section 194 IB of Income Tax Act 1961, if the monthly rental exceed 20,000 rupees, the tenant must deduct 5% TDS, file Form 26QC, and provide a TDS certificate to landlord. The landlord's PAN is mandatory for this. Now, the eviction process. Serve a 15 to 30-day legal notice. If the tenant refuses to vacate, file a eviction suit with the rent court. Submit valid documents, agreement receipts, and police verification to strengthen your case. Now, one major risk these days landlords are facing is illegal subletting. Your tenant may sublet the property to someone else without your knowledge. Avoid this by clearly stating in agreement subletting is prohibited without prior written permission of the landlord. And finally, always issue and collect rent receipt. If payment is made in cash over 5,000 rupees, use a revenue stamp as the Indian Stamp Act 1899. If paid via check or UPI, a digital receipt is sufficient. Maintain documented proof of all transactions, rent deposit, maintenance charges, and deductions. Being a landlord may seem like a passive income, but it's a full time responsibility. Jai Hind.